And it's time for Midweek Motivation Live. This is your host, Patrick Lee. Hope everyone is doing all right today. It's a cold, snowy day in Amarillo, Texas. Wasn't expecting this, but it is what it is, and we accept it, live with it, love it, embrace it. People already tuning in to watch the show. Love that. I hope y'all are doing all right today. I want to talk to you this week about a life of peace and power, how to change your life, turn a life around, maybe from a life of timidity or a life of stress, a life of turmoil and toxic people in your life to a life of peaceful power. What are you talking about, Patrick? Well, let's dive into it. There's a lot of things that have happened in the month of January. We're nearing the end of this month. And I haven't, in the past, I've taken the month of January for reflection. And the topic I want to bring to y'all today really sort of comes from that. Good morning, Pete. Good to see you on here. People tuning in from all over. I got a message from one of my viewers in Sweden the other day through Instagram. They follow me on all of my accounts. And had some really nice comments about Midweek Motivation Live all the way from Sweden. I was like, that was very, very nice. So this person has moved from one country to another and follows the show. So I love that. That's awesome. But want to talk to you this week literally about transforming your life from a life of peace through possible obligation, maybe, or being an obliging person, to having a life that's more of a life of peaceful power. Once you remove toxicity from your life, you open up the channels, you open up your spirit. Some people call it the universe. I believe God created the universe, so I'm going to call it your spirit. But you open yourself up to a much better life, a stronger life of a peace in your life. So attaining peace, our first topic that I want to talk to you about, attaining peace. Some of you would say, hey, man, what in the world are you talking about? How do I attain peace? Maybe you live in a life that is toxic, where nothing peaceful seems to happen in your life. And you say, I think that that's just impossible for me. I would question that. And I believe that you have a whole lot more power inside of you to achieve peace in your life, to attain a peaceful state in your life than you may believe. You may be young and say, well, I live at home. I don't really have any power to control the atmosphere, right? The environment in my home, but you do have the ability to control how you react to the things that happen in your home. You may be you could be a henpecked husband. let's just pick on the husbands for a minute instead of the wives, right? Because wives can say, my husband is the king of the castle. He does whatever he wants, treats me however he's going to treat me, and I can't leave him. So I'm not going to be able to attain peace the way you're talking. Man, I just jumped off a diving board into the deep end right there, didn't I? But maybe you're the husband and you live with a toxic spouse and you want to have peace in your home, but your spouse is always creating drama. Maybe you are the wife and your husband is always mad about something. The way you react in your spirit and externally has a whole lot to do with how much peace you have or do not have in your life. When things are going wrong in your life, you can still choose how you react to that. And I would like to say that the number one step to moving from peace and obligatory lifestyle or peace and timidity to peacefulness and power is all in how you react. Too many people are reactionary and they wait for something bad to happen. So they react to whatever happens. But I would like to change that for you and start talking. I got to stop looking at the comments. Thank you, Cody. Great comment. Nothing's more peaceful than listening to Patrick Lee talk about peace. There you go. Surprise topic today, right? But once you realize that you have the power to to either act or react, that will flip a switch in your life. So many people are reactionary instead of acting in the first place. If you are operating on the offense instead of the defense, you will find that you'll live a much better life when you're living life by your own terms. And living a life of peace is something that many people try to attain, and they chase after gurus, and they climb the mountain. I used to watch read the Wizard of Id comic book, which was hilarious, and BC, about the cavemen, these comic strips that used to be around, and they would always come around to the guy climbing the mountain. And when you get to the very top of the mountain, the guru, right, is sitting up there Indian style in peace. And he's supposed to be the wisest person in the world. And they would ask him this profound question, and he would always have some simple little answer that was usually quite comical and very, very truthful. So many people spend thousands of dollars trying to attain peace through every other external area of their life, instead of realizing that they have the power within themselves to make a few simple decisions, set some boundaries in their life, and start achieving that peaceful state that they want to achieve. Number one, on attaining peace, one of the best things I think that you can do to attain peace in your life is look back at where you came from and realize how grateful you are for everything in life that has happened for you, because it has brought you to where you are today. And once you can learn how to be grateful for everything in life, some things are good, some things are bad, some things it's a matter of interpretation. You might say that something that has happened for you was a bad thing, but once you go back and look at the ramifications of how that came to pass and the change it made in your life, you may understand that that was actually a good thing that happened for you. This is the month of January we talked about, of course. The month of January has over the years become a month of reflection for me. Many of you know, many of you do not know, my oldest sister was murdered way over 20 years ago, 25 years ago. In the month of January, I got the call from my mother that she was no longer with us. And she was the oldest of all five of us, my sister Debbie. And I think that when I look back on it, we were the two that were the most alike of the five. She was very charming, good looking, outgoing. Everyone loved her, much like me. So I think that we were very much alike. She wanted to get a job and start paying her own way at a very young age, as did I. I kind of followed after her in that sense. Went out at 14 and got a job illegally until I could get a work permit and a social security number and go get a job legally. I wanted to pay my own way. I did not like the fact that we did not have a lot of the extra things in life. We were not an affluent family. My sister was the same way, and she wanted to go out and get a job, and she did, and she helped pay her way and bought her first car and paid for her own entertainment, her gas and insurance. I became a lot of the same way. We were singers. We used to sing together, and she ended up becoming the president of her Christian Women's Society, Christian Business Women's Group for a time, and did a lot of the things in life that I have followed in her footsteps and done. And then her life was cut short tragically years ago in the month of January. And then, of course, many of you know, if you follow the show, 2 years ago, my father passed away. Just a couple of days ago was the anniversary of that. And many people in my life, especially my wife and my kids and mom and my mother and I, who's still with us out in Oregon, talked about it. It was the anniversary of the day my dad passed away. And it's only been 2 years, and these things can be very fresh. For my sister, it's still as many years as it's been, it's still fresh. And many of you have lost people in your life, right? And it's not lost, maybe isn't really the word for it. When you lose someone in your life, or when they pass from this life into the next, many times we know where they are. If you're a person of faith, we know that that person is in heaven waiting for us, and we will have a great reunion with them in heaven in the future. So we haven't really lost them, but when that person is no longer here and we can't touch their skin, it changes us, right? It changes us. When my sister passed, it changed me. And then when my father passed 2 years ago, it changed me as well. Some would say drastically. I don't think drastically, but I think for the good thing. Here's a hard statement. I'm going to make this one, and this one's probably going to shock some of you. Losing my dad or my father dying did not happen to me. Here you go. This is a hard one. My father leaving this earth happened for me. And I don't say that flippantly, and I don't say that just to make a point, but if it makes a point with you and it wakes you up, I hope that it does. Losing my father changed my peace, and it changed my mentality in life, relationships, and business 100%. For many years, I spent my life doing exactly this, trying to identify the difference between weakness and peacefulness. And I felt like I was on a journey towards peace in my life, but I think that peace was coming from a position of weakness. And I don't mean weak like namby-pamby, weak, limp-wristed, weak, never wanting to get involved in conflict. But I did not, probably did not stand up for my values and morals as much as I could have. There are probably times I could have gotten involved in some things and jumped on a soapbox and fought for change. And I didn't, because it was easier to not get involved. It was more peaceful to me to not jump in the middle of that situation. So I didn't. I was a self-identified yes man for a long time because I wanted peace in my relationships, my friendships, my business relationships, in the sake of keeping the peace. How many times do you know it's easier to just go along with the flow? Someone's making a decision. You're like, yeah, it sounds like everyone wants to do that. That's probably a good idea. Let's go ahead and do that. Hey, we could probably make a lot of money if we do it this way. Let's do it this way. Hey, what do y'all think about this? It's all the way down to, where do you want to eat for lunch? How many times have you gone out to eat with someone and you just didn't want to go there? You know what I mean? But to keep the peace, you just did that. I think that those are all signs of some kind of a weakness in your life. You want to keep the peace so much that you allow this weakness. And we talk about, in business, we talk about identifying pleasure versus pain. But sometimes that pain point in life that you want to talk people away from is just simply, it's an area of weakness, something that you need to develop in your life to develop strength. And in this seeking or trying to attain peace, we do not identify this weakness in our life, areas that we need to man up, to woman up. You know, the ladies call it, I'm going to put on my big girl panties and get my big cup of coffee, and I'm going to take on life, right? Agreed, Ross. Ross says losing his dad was one of the hardest things in life, but also removed a giant weight off my shoulders as well, having cared for him for years and watching him deteriorate for 14 years. Wow, that's powerful. Very powerful, Ross. We're on that same page. It changes us when that happens. So when my father passed away, it changed me to the point to where the things that mattered to me didn't matter anymore. And many of the directions that I was going did not make sense anymore. And they did not identify with my spirit. They did not identify with the kind of peace that I wanted in my life. And this may be the kind of peace that you're looking for in your life. So what I have learned to do through the loss of my sister, through the through my dad leaving my life was that I've learned to honor those people who went before me. My grandpa Lee is one of them. I was talking with a friend day before yesterday, one of my agents, about some of the things that my granddad used to do, because I used to hang out at my granddad's, my grandparents, a lot. And we had a string of barns, shops along the property and next to the wood pile. And we had one that was like a wood shed, and one was a regular tool shed, and then another one was like a farm implement shed. And Grandpa Lee collected tools. I don't know how many of them he used, but he was a collector of them. If he ever came across a shovel head or a pick head or an axe handle or a shovel handle or whatever it was, half of a hoe, Grandpa Lee would collect that, and it would end up in his tool shed. And if he needed one, he may go take a shovel handle and shove it in the head of a broken hoe head, and he had him a new hoe. So he was always saving a dollar, finding something that he could redeem and turn it into another tool that he could use in the future. You know what I mean? So I've learned that from my granddad, and how to honor him and how to save money. I have a shop in a shed in my backyard, and I have literally had to change the way I collected tools, because for years I had the same. I have a collection of shovel heads and hoe heads and axe handles and shovel handles and rakes in my shed, more than I will ever use. And I could give them away to all of my neighbors. And my dad, many years, my dad did the same thing. We had sheds full of useless things that they thought sometime in the future they would be able to make them useful. And what I've learned to do through the passing of my sister, the motivation I achieved from her, the passing of my grandparents, Grandma and Grandpa Lee, amazing people. And then, of course, my dad 2 years ago, is that I learned to start honoring those people that went before me and talking about the things in life that happened for me that I learned from them, because it helps me keep the peace within myself and within my relationships by extracting the power from that relationship that I had with them to help strengthen me. And I don't use the passing of the loved ones from my life as a way of creating pity or creating drama and saying so-and-so is gone now and I don't know what I'm going to do, so I'm going to start operating only in the knee-jerk reactionary attitudes of how to handle things in life, of I don't have so-and-so here anymore to tell me what to do, and I wish my sister was here to tell me what to do, or I wish my brother was here to tell me what to do. If it's to be, it's up to me. So I need to take the power from those people, the faith and the belief that they had in me, and I use that to create power for myself. It strengthens me. It gives me the strength to move forward. Cody says, peace to you all. Amen, brother. Peace be with you all. Everyone in our life has had someone pass that has left their life. Some peacefully, some tragically. We've had people that have passed away recently that simply went to sleep and didn't wake up. We've had a couple of people that have nearly been taken out by COVID and then recovered miraculously. God is a good God, and they are going to have a whole new mindset and an appreciation for life when they recover from that. The thing that I want you to take from all of this is that when someone has passed, that we need to take that power. We need to take that belief. We need to take the fact that that person loved us so much that they believed in us. They wanted the best for us. No one that has left your life would walk up to you in heaven and say, dude, when I left, I can't believe your life didn't just stop and you mourned me for the rest of your life because wasn't I worth it? No, that I believe that when we get to heaven, the people that have passed on before us would say to us if they could, thank you for moving forward. Thank you for celebrating my life and honoring me by living a better life, by going forward and helping other people. Be the kind of person that I believed you could be, that I told you when you were a little girl, when you grew up, you could be. When you were a boy, a young man, that you could be anything you wanted to be, that you had it within you to move forward, to do the things in life, right? But when I passed, you sat down in a chair and you cried for me, and you mourned for me, and you shut your life down for me. And it became this huge spirit of weakness, stress, pain, struggle, and no peace. There's no way to get through life. So how do we attain peace? Oh, man, you're going to have to learn to set some boundaries. You're going to have to remove some toxic people from your life. And I don't always mean remove, but I simply mean as you move forward in power and in peacefulness and you set boundaries, those people will drop off. Identify weakness, the difference in weakness and peacefulness. A lot of people say, well, in the Beatitudes, that one of them says the meek shall inherit the earth. And they say meekness, I'm meek, but meek does not equal weak. If you go back and research the word meek, it means a strong resolve, a peaceful, strong resolve, a person who knows their calling and is willing to move forward in life. And you don't have to be mean about it, but you have a calm, strengthful power within you. That's meekness. Then learn to honor the people who went before you. Take power in the fact that these people believed in you, and use that to learn how to believe in yourself. And you will find that when you do that, a peaceful power starts to arise within you. When my dad passed, my life changed, my relationships changed. I started developing much stronger relationships with some of the people on here in the comments right now. People that I had a relationship with before, a little more distant. In the last 2 years, those relationships have been cultivated. Some relationships that I had that were pretty strong have waned. They have weakened, and some of those people have fallen away, and they have removed themselves from my life because they couldn't go on the journey that I was going on anymore. They realized they could no longer derive power from the relationship with me because they weren't in alignment with where I was going. Sometimes that's a good, most of the time that's a good thing. Sometimes it can be a little painful when people leave your life, but just realize that happened for you, not to you. And then finally, learn to find that peace in your power. Here's a simple demonstration, an illustration. I picked up my friend yesterday. We're going on a road trip. We're going out of town. Needed to go pick something up in another town. And I just called him and I said, hey, what are you doing right now? I'm going to be on the road for a couple hours. You want a road trip? He's like, yeah, I'm busy, but I can stop what I'm doing for you. Let's road trip. And it's good for us to talk for a couple hours, catch up on the things that are happening in our lives and just have some guy talk. And on the way out of town, we stopped at a restaurant, just a fast food joint, to get some French fries. And we pull out in the street, fixing to pull out in the street. The French fries are cold. And he got a combo. He's got a burger and a soda, and a big burger and a soda. And any other time in the past, we might have said, oh, it's no big deal. We're in a hurry. Let's go. And I just stopped the truck, backed it up, put it in reverse. I said, give me those fries. And I got out of the truck and I walked in the front door with these French fries and set them on the counter. Said, I'd like some hot French fries, please. And the girl said, what? And I said, we just paid $10 for a burger combo and you gave us some old cold fries. We'd like some fresh French fries. And I just looked at her and I wasn't mean. I wasn't hard. I just said, hey, this is not acceptable. And she goes, I have some fresh French fries coming right up. Hold on, sir. I waited about 30 seconds and we got a fresh box of fries and went out and gave them to my buddy. And he's like, dude, what has gotten into you? I said, what do you mean? He goes, normally you would never stop And this hasn't happened, obviously, in quite a while. He said, what's gotten into you? I said, nothing's gotten into me. I'm just learning that my peace comes when I'm operating in who I am. And I don't have to accept things in life that are subpar. If you just expect the minimum out of everybody, that's what you're going to get. If you learn to start accepting the most out of other people, you may be disappointed a few times, but you may find out that you extract more out of them, that you build more power in them, that you help strengthen them and empower them to do better in their life. When you quit accepting less in your life, you can help other people do the same. Find peace in your power. You don't have to be mad. You simply just don't have to accept things anymore that are not in alignment with where you're going in life. Man, I hope this is helping y'all today. It's been a huge change in my life. Hopefully some of you that know me recognize that. That's why I do what I do every week. Actually, most of this came about. My life changed. Midweek Motivation Live started about 2.5 years ago. And the nature of the show changed when my dad passed a couple of years ago. And so the things that people started talking about on the show and interjecting more of God into the conversation, because he's such a huge part of my life, is starting to have more of an effect on me, and it's having an effect on those of you that watch the show as well. I love you and appreciate each and every one of you for stepping in here for a few minutes each week on Wednesday to talk a little bit about how to find more peace, how to be more powerful, how to have better relationships, how to find more joy in life, maybe how to make a little bit more money as well, right? That's why I do what I do every week. Hey, listen, I love you guys. Thank you for coming in each and every week to watch the show. I appreciate it more than you know. Midweek Motivation Live would not exist without you, the viewer. This does broadcast live now on Facebook and LinkedIn simulcast. It was broadcasting on YouTube live as well, and YouTube changed their analytics. So now I go back and upload the finished video to YouTube afterwards. But if you're watching this on YouTube, be sure and click on the subscribe button below this and click on the bell to get notifications every week whenever I go live. Click on the link in the comments below this video on LinkedIn or Facebook if you know anyone that's interested in buying or selling a home or investing in real estate. Click on my digital business card created by Content Cards, Nick Krim and Michael K. That's www.patricklee.work. I'd be happy to get an appointment with you in my calendar and talk to you about how we can help you purchase a home or sell a home in today's current market. Until next week, this has been Patrick Lee. I love you. Appreciate you. I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.